Hey everybody, welcome to Fresh Off the Gun. I'm Scott. I'm gonna show you guys how to save some money on spark plugs in your old engine. If you want a budget and your truck's running or your car's running a little bit rough, I already placed the spark plug wires on this and the distributor cap. I cleaned it up and it looks good. But the thing still has a little bit of a miss, just a tiny little bit at idle. So kind of to clean it up, I'm gonna replace these plugs, but I'm gonna show you how to clean them up if they're not so bad. These ones are pretty bad, so I'm gonna go to the store after this and probably clean them up a little bit. If you don't know how to read spark plugs, that's pretty much what you want. You want a nice golden color. I think the gap is right on it. I have to check. You can get a gap reader. They're fairly cheap. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean this plug up and reinstall it. And then I don't think I'm gonna bother with the rest, but I'm just gonna do one to show you guys. So, let's go. I'm gonna go over here and turn the power on to everything. With the lights, that's handy. So you could either take your plug to if you have like a wheel like this, like a grinding wheel, and it happens to have, if it happens to have like a wire brush, you can clean them up that way. And I think that's how I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna kind of run it through this. So basically, I'm just looking to clean off all of the kind of the contaminants that are on the plug. Just get it kind of down to bare metal. My hands are too. And just see how it looks. I mean, I don't like that there's a bunch of rust there. The contact point where the plug goes looks pretty good. But like after a while, these things just get tired. So I'm gonna go for all new ones. But this one, let's see what happens when I clean it up. So there it is. Always try to clean off like the threads, just to make it kind of, it'll torque better when it goes back into the engine block. So we'll just take it over and reinstall it. And then this will go for like any car, whether it's this old truck or anything that you happen to be driving with spark plugs. I know there's magical cars out now that don't have engines or spark plugs or don't take gas and all this other stuff, but so I'm just gonna put it back in. That cleaned up fairly well. So what you want to do when you put it back in your block is you thread it by hand, a couple of threads, and make sure it catches the threads. And that's actually really nice. This truck's actually really nice, like the block and whatnot. It doesn't leak anything, and you know, it works really well for what it is. Then you just kind of, once you thread it in, you just kind of bring it down to snug. That's it. Throw the plug wire back on, and then you just continue with the rest. So, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go down to my local rip-off store and just buy 6 more. Spark plugs used to be affordable. They used to be about, you know, $4 or $5 for a pair, and now it's $6 each. So nothing's cheap anymore, but what are you gonna do, you know what I mean? If you come across a plug that has oil on it, that means your rings are getting bad. That means there's oil coming past your piston, and that the rings are kind of starting to get old. So yeah, this one's kind of shitty. This is why I want to replace them all. This is number 2. You can see it's kind of, I think I just did this last year. I didn't really drive the truck that much, but it did sit outside because I had other projects in here, like for the winter. I just don't like seeing that rust. I might just clean them all up just to see for fun and see if it'll run any better, but I'm still gonna get new just because I'm an asshole. Hopefully you guys enjoy these videos. I know that I say I'm a paint guy, but I put myself out there the other day, and I'm working on some deals for people to try to get some airbrushing in pretty soon. And by pretty soon, I mean probably this week. I'm gonna get some paint and I'll start doing my bike. So in all reality, I should be checking the gaps while I'm going. You can get the gap sizes on, you know, the internet, Google or whatever. They'll tell you what the gap, the spark plug at. This is what I'm talking about, the gap. The distance between this top and this little fella in here. So the gap in between, on different engines, you have to like gap them lower or higher depending on what you got. So I haven't checked the gaps in these, even though I probably should. I should dig out my gapper, but that'll take too much time for videos. So like I say, I am replacing these anyway, so it don't matter. But that one turned out good. I'm glad to see there's no oil on it. The threads were kind of full of junk, so that's okay. They're cleaned out now. If you don't have one of those machines, there's many ways you can do this. If you don't have one of the machines, you can use like I used to use a wire brush before. Like before I got some tools and whatnot in here, I just used to use a wire brush and just go at it. So you can just use one of these jobbies. They're pretty cheap. Takes a lot longer, but you got to use what you got, right? So you just kind of scuff them down. blow them out, and that's that. Ugh. But there you go. I mean, that's relatively clean. And then when you drop them, like I just did, that means you absolutely have to replace them because you'll crack the porcelain. No, it didn't crack, but all right. And then it's the same deal as before. You just kind of thread it in. If you do one at a time, then you're not going to mess up your firing order on your engine. If you were to take all these wires off and just let them dangle, then you might lose the firing order. And that tells, you know, the firing order is what piston, what bank's gonna fire when, and every vehicle is specific to how it fires. So you don't want to mess that up, or your car, if it runs at all after that, it won't run good. I'll do probably a third one if you guys are into watching spark plug replacements, but I'll do the third one, and then I'll probably go pick up some new ones and chuck them in. So I threaded in a couple threads first, make sure it was in the block. By block, I mean this engine. It's called an engine block. There's a head, there's a block on the bottom, you know, and then there's the valve, and the valve covers is right here. Every engine's the same. They all don't look the same, but they're all basically the same, whether it's a 2020 or a 1942. So, and by the same, I mean basically the same. You know, a lot of them now have computers on them and different doodads to make it all fancy and stuff, but when you buy an old car, that's kind of the charm of them, is because they're all mechanical and they're pretty easy to figure out just by listening to what it's doing, the different clunks and squeaks, and you know how it runs. If you're half mechanical, then it shouldn't be too hard to figure it out. That one's, see, this one, sometimes they look wet, but this one smells like gas, so that means it's running a little rich. And I knew it was running rich because I had the timing too far advanced, so I backed it off a few days ago, just tinkering with it. And I got the timing right on. Now I just want to get that little stammer out that they all seem to have eventually, so this plug doesn't actually look that bad, other than the fact that it stinks of gas. But now that I'm going to replace them with the new timing and stuff, it should run fine. But I mean, I'm going to try it. I'll do all 6 and run them and see. Why not? So again, start this sucker up. And I don't wear gloves. I know that when I start getting comments, I haven't gotten any yet, but when I do start getting some, people are going to tell me I got to wear gloves and, you know, a helmet and a face mask and, you know, a cup for my balls and all this other stuff. But my career as a hand model is over. You know, this finger's all busted up. It's full of scars. I broke my hands numerous times when I was a boxer back in the day. But so I mean, it doesn't matter to me. You guys should wear gloves. You should wear all your safety gear, just to avoid getting kind of rashed up and cut up. But I'm kind of old school when it comes to that type of thing, so. I finally got a tripod so I can shoot these videos. YouTube's kind of funny. On my first week, I got 3,500 views, and then they all kind of stopped. I don't know. I don't understand that, but I've been trying to put as much content as I possibly can with what I have to work with right now. So I'll just do this one, and that'll be it for this video. If you guys, sometimes the part numbers for these things are written right there. They're written on the porcelain part of the plug. So save you some time from looking it up, or to double check even. If you go into a store and you don't know, if your car is too old and the kid behind the counter don't know what spark plugs are, like they don't know here, then you just get the part number off of the part itself and just get that same part. Or just take the plug and just kind of measure it up to another one. That'll work too. I could tell actually that gap is different than the other ones. But like I say, it's getting replaced. So, all right, guys, that's it for now. Thanks for joining in. Like, subscribe, comment. I'll do the best I can to start getting into some paint stuff. This truck's gonna get painted. We're gonna do a quick job on it and just use it for the summer. I'm gonna pinstripe it too, make it look pretty dope. So let me know what you guys think. Thanks.